so I'm fucking excited for today's episode.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Okay, so first of all, I feel like this is going to be... Wait, did I tell you when we talked on the phone that I've only been to therapy like twice?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I've only been...
To different people?
Yes. I've been once to therapy in person. Actually, maybe I went twice.
Okay.
And
were there reasons for going both times?
Yes. The first reason, which I figured we might hit on too, we'll see, was because when I was younger, my dad died. And I feel like I never really processed it or dealt with it.
Okay.
And I know I have daddy issues, but that's besides the point. I'm very aware of everything.
It's like daddy issues is such a broad term. What does that mean?
It is.
Right? Okay.
But I think I have all of whatever entails.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I went. And I felt like the woman really did not discuss that. And I told her that's why I was coming. And it was like, and she also gave me this paper that was like an anxiety chart, because I told her I had anxiety since I was a kid. And she was like, okay, here's a chart. And I felt like saying, bitch, if it was as easy as reading a chart, I don't think I'd have the problems I have.
Let's talk about this.
Okay,
because
go ahead.
Therapists have different styles, right?
Yes.
When someone walks into a room, you can either follow an outline and say, we have to answer this, 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 and this.
Right.
Or you can say, what brings you here? And let the person take it away.
Right.
So it sounds like you went to the first of the two, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was the first experience. Never went back. So I was like, okay, this didn't help.
Okay.
And then we were sponsored on the old show by BetterHelp. And I actually liked the woman.
You went. You did it.
Well, it was virtual. So it was a phone call.
Yeah.
And the woman was nice. But let me just tell you that it was very obvious how rushed it was. They were only 30-minute sessions. And like 28 minutes in, she'd be like, okay, well, I have a client after you. So, we're going to have to end it here. And she ended up telling me, let me just tell you. So I've never been diagnosed with anything like wild. But except for like
what do you mean by wild? We'll talk about wild later.
So, but like it's been minor anxiety and things like that. But this more recent woman told me I had ADHD for women, which is very different than in men. And it can escalate over time. Okay, so anyway, that's my experience. I stopped going to her because I didn't like it either. I got nothing out of it. And she wanted to put me on pills. So that. So basically, I'm so excited to have you on the show because I feel like this is going to be like a real life mini therapy session.
I'm intrigued by your past experiences because that is not what I do.
I'm a pretty cool person. And that's that's the other thing too, is before we get into it, I want you to explain who you are and what you do and your specialties and all that. Because I know you got a lot of cool stuff too.
Thank you. Can I call you Dev or Devora?
You can call me Dev.
Dev.
Yes.
Okay. So Dev, my name is Alex. I was born and raised right here in Maryland. I grew up and my mom was a social worker. So I would see her coming home every day, but I didn't really take to it. And I was like, okay, I don't want to hear about your day. And then I came across an experience in my life where I encountered someone who was psychotic. And this was my senior year of high school going to freshman year of college. I know we've talked a little bit about this. We do have similar experiences on this.
Yeah, which I definitely want us to talk about too.
Yeah. So
that's what got you into it.
Not yet.
Okay.
So this person was sick and I was in college. I was a freshman in college. I wanted to do not physical therapy. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So then I guess it took like 2 years for me to process the events that occurred.
Right.
And I was like, I need to do something here. I need to help these people and I need to educate these people because if you see someone who is psychotic and do not know what is going on, it can be scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is terrifying, especially when, I think too, when you're that young, and we're still young, you know what I mean? But I feel like being even younger than we are now. Yeah. I think experiencing things that you've never experienced like that, and they're very serious, it's dealing with somebody's life and someone's mental health, that it can be scary and it can be traumatizing and so many other things too.
Yeah, you're totally right. So, traumatizing. I think that's like a word we're going to use that word a lot today. Okay. I think, and I want to acknowledge the heaviness of it and that everyone can have different types of trauma.
Yep.
And I think that at times this word can be overused.
Just like any word.
Just like any word. Yeah. Just like
the word insane, agree. Like on the show.
Just like the word insane.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about that. So, Dev, when I started talking to you, just for a background, I was a little nervous to come on here.
Really?
Yeah, I was a little nervous.
So why were you nervous?
Because when I hear the word insane used, like the layman, like how everyone the general term, I like my antennas go up and I'm like, that is not how it should be used.
Yep.
People who are insane, that was like a term made in the 1600s to determine someone who was mentally damaged.
Right.
And people who have psychiatric hospitalizations or a severe mental illness, when they hear the word insane, it could come off as it's stigma.
Absolutely.
So when I heard we're all insane, I was like, okay, wait a minute. We're not all insane.
Yep.
And we all have different things that we're going through in our lives that can be really challenging and make us feel
insane.
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
And also, I was going to give you an example. You know, growing up, I definitely have some mood swings in my life, which is fine. It makes me me. But growing up in different relationships, I've had a lot of boyfriends back when I was younger say, you're bipolar. You're bipolar. And this was, you know, I knew that kind of meant mood swings, but I also was young. I didn't really know anything. And then when I dated someone who was actually bipolar, it made me realize how wrong it was for somebody to just call you that and throw out that term.
Yes.
So I was just kind of going off of what you were saying with the word insane and even crazy. Like when people call you crazy, I think, especially when men call women crazy in relationships and for feeling certain ways and feeling emotions, there's something about that really irks people because and especially me too, because I mean I've been called that many times and I know I can be a wild card, but wild too, all these words, but you know what I mean? It's just, I just feel like everybody has a different definition for everything.
Yes.
But I think that when, you know, someone is in the line of work that you're in, you see things very differently and you realize how serious it can be to use these terms in a general way.
I appreciate you saying that. And I also do see your perspective because not everyone has the education that I have and that the experiences that you do.
Right.
And also, I think that this podcast is a place to where people who come on the show may have a mental illness. We don't know. And in the case, that's a conversation you'll have then.
Right.
Also, I want to go back to what you were saying about those relationships you were in with the boyfriends who would call you bipolar. I think there are other terms people misuse. Bipolar. Oh, you're psychotic. I want to kill myself. Like, oh, I'm so OCD today. Just like misusing terms and just remembering that maybe we can ask for help in different ways when we feel this way.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. And I think that I just think that it, like you were saying with the experience, I feel like people don't really know. And I said this, I think, on the last episode 2 or 2 episodes ago. That unless you go through something firsthand, I feel like it's really, really hard to actually understand. And I think that you can be there for somebody and listen, but it's hard to know unless you've experienced it. I kind of feel like
so with this all being said, I have a couple questions for you. Is it okay if we move there?
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Yes, I'm excited too.
I don't know much about you.
Okay, I'm excited to share. I love talking about myself.
Well, this is the perfect time. Okay, we're switching the roles here a little bit, right?
Sounds good, yes.
Okay. So you have an Onlyfans.
I do.
Can I tell you what I know and then you fill
absolutely.
me in? I know that this is a great platform for people to use and for content, usually explicit content in exchange for money. Like they can have memberships or subscriptions and that's it.
Okay.
What do you do?
I post my naked body online to
like
put it short
fully naked.
Yes.
Okay.
And it didn't start that way. But
I'm interested in that. Okay.
So, and I honestly, it got brought up.
Thank you for sharing this here.
Of course.
Thank you for sharing this here.
I don't mind at all. And I think I said this off camera, the last episode, but no matter, because I've already changed so much today than when I started OnlyFans, but I would never, and when I will eventually stop. And when I do stop, I would never look back and be like, I wish I never did that or I regret it, because I don't regret it and I wouldn't have what I have if it wasn't for that. And then also, I feel like I do OnlyFans because it's part of my personality. Like, I feel like you can't do it unless you're good at it.
Can I mention something right
Yes.
now? I want to notice that I didn't ask you why you did it yet, but you brought it up.
Okay.
Do people usually are like, well, why do you do it? Do people question?
I don't think so. But
do you feel like maybe there's judgment coming from people?
yes, but I don't really give a shit. Because let me tell you why. Mm-hmm. I know I look good, so I don't care. So if like somebody's going to say to me, why do you post your body online? I'm going to say because I have the body for it, number one. Okay. And number two, because it has gotten me everything that I need. And it has made me live a very stable life, which I feel like I always wanted. Okay.
So you have support from family and friends to be doing this?
Enough.
What about your partner?
Yeah, so actually, it was his idea originally.
This is a story?
It is now, but where it started. So basically, it started with me posting like sports bra, underwear, lingerie pictures. Because,
so like more PG-13.
Yes, absolutely. Because on Instagram, and even now I still do this, which I'm sure you've seen, but I'll post myself in my bathing suits or my thongs and Brandon had said to me, if you're going to post this on your Instagram stories, this is when OnlyFans first started popping off.
What was this, like beginning of COVID?
Yes,
like
COVID maybe?
It was like after the first lockdown.
Yeah.
I just know that it popped off kind of recently.
Yes. Okay. I would say within the last like a little less than 2 years.
Okay, so Brandon was like, you have these pictures.
So I just had moved out. I was planning on getting my master's degree. The only way I was making money was from Brandon's videos. He was paying me to be in his YouTube videos at the time. And like as a character. And he said to me, he was
if you haven't listened to that, go back to the prior podcast.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. So basically he was just like, you know, people are making money from this. Instead of posting you in your underwear on your stories, why not get paid for it? And I was like, you know what? Good idea.
Business mindset.
Yes, he's very businessy.
Okay.
So that's what it started as. I didn't have my boobs done yet, but honestly, growing up, I've never been modest. Like I have been flashing my tits at the bars. I've been sending naked pictures since I was 15 years old.
This is your self-worth. Okay, let's talk about self-worth. Okay. So where does your self-worth come from? Is it physical? Is it like, tell me more about that, because you know, like if it was just
like within myself, or
like, do you, from getting validation about how you look, does that make you, is that your confidence?
Okay, so I think back in the day, yes, like that's how. And it's changed. Like back in the day, I think I really I relied on physical things. I think that I feel like that was but now it's like I know how I look, and I'm proud of myself for the way I eat and the amount of times I go to the gym. And I don't, like, now I'm at a point where I really don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, you've matured.
And I don't even care to post my body online anymore. Not because, like, more because my mentality has just changed.
Are you
much.
fulfilled doing this?
Absolutely not. No, it has made me like extremely depressed.
Whoa, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Whoa, I wasn't expecting this. Okay,
so originally, no, like I loved it. I mean, I'm bawling out, you know, and I was just
was like, this when you had the other podcast?
Even before that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had first moved into my apartment, and I would say a couple weeks in, I made my OnlyFans.
Okay.
And I was just getting by to afford the apartment, like from getting paid from Brandon's videos. And even that, I was scared I wasn't going to make rent.
So you were like, where can I get money here?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I kind of have always been like that.
It's a little stressful.
Yeah, you know, growing up, my mom always supported me financially. She pretty much got me. I would say she did spoil me, but not over the top.
Okay.
But yeah, she always got me what I wanted. But I also always kind of felt a sense of, I don't know the word. I don't know what word.
You always have to, like scarcity maybe?
No, like basically I felt like, sorry mom if you're listening, but this is the truth. But basically I felt like if she would, I felt like reliant on her, but I also kind of felt like if she would, I felt like she had control over me. That's what it was. Like, I felt like if she was still paying my phone bill, she had some sort of control over me. If I was still living under her roof, which is normal, you know?
Yeah, I think that this is so normal. Oh, yeah. Teenagers, they want to be independent.
Yeah, and I think that I was really at a point in my life where I was so ready to break away from all of it.
Okay.
In regards to her, like, I wanted our relationship to strictly be like I wanted us to stay close, but I no longer wanted her to have any sort of hold on me.
Okay.
So I wanted a lot of money. And to be able to do what I wanted to do.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah. So I made the OnlyFans and made just to be super transparent, I think I made like $10K in a day. And
so this was like, oh, I'm hooked.
Yeah. I was like, this is fucking insane. Like literally.
I
think, side note, I think I use that word every episode. I've realized.
I'm going to be so happy that you're going to notice it now. Though.
I know.
As long as you notice it.
I do. Even when I go back and edit, I'm like, damn, there it is again.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was making a lot of money, and I'd say for the first year.
Wait, can you replace the word insane really quick? Can we go back?
Yes. What can I? Let me.
It
was shocking.
Yeah, it was shocking. Okay.
It was shocking.
So you were making all this money.
Yes. And it made me feel, I won't say fulfilled, but I think I had never had this kind of money in my life for myself. So I was just getting what I wanted. I bought cats. I got a bigger apartment. I was buying all the clothes that I wanted. I mean, materialistic things.
At some point, was that not doing it anymore?
So I would say after a year or so. Honestly, it really wasn't until I moved into my house. Because then I felt like I got everything I could need. Like I have the house. I have the cats. I feel stable.
Yeah.
But now, what do I do during the day?
What do you do?
Nothing. Like it was just the gym. And then, everybody around me, I felt like had a purpose and they had something that they were doing. And for me, I was like, okay, yeah, I make money from posting my body online, but that takes me all of
So how long are you going to
minutes.
do this for? How much longer do you want to do this for?
I would love to stop now, but I need to replace the income. And I refuse to stop until I replace how much I'm making. Because I'm
Okay, so you have a goal
businesswoman.
right now.
Yes.
And you're not happy. Because you said
Well,
you were...
let me tell you this.
Okay, yeah. Tell me about that.
When I restarted this podcast, which is a very last minute, scary decision, extremely scary. And there was 2 days that I really thought my life was over. I didn't think I was going to do
You
this.
mean the break between the two?
Between the two.
Wow.
The two
Okay.
shows. So, and it wasn't an immediate decision. It was
Okay.
like a 2-day break. And when I decided it, or before I decided it, I had no idea what I was going to do. Really didn't even know if I was going to continue in social media. It was scary.
Wow.
But
So you were at this point, what do I do?
yeah. So it was scary.
Yeah.
And yeah. So, but I will say, ever since I've started doing this, I have not been happier. Like I've been so happy. Like it's been the happiest I've been in a long time. It's the most passion I've poured into anything.
I have chills, Dev. I can tell you're passionate about this while you're talking about it. And just like...
I've always wanted to use my brain. Like even when I wanted to be in the FBI, it was because I wanted to use my brain.
And you're interested in people.
Yes.
Aren't you?
And I think I'm good at talking.
Yeah. Okay, I have one more question.
Go ahead. Ask away.
Are you proud
of what?
Doing OnlyFans? Like today, are you proud? I know that you said you would never regret it. Or like this is your career. I know that this is
okay. So that's a good question. I'm proud that I've gotten where I've gotten, no matter how I did it. But am I proud of
roundabout way of answering?
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like I don't want to say I'm disappointed because I'm really not, and it doesn't surprise me that I went this route because genuinely, I mean, I was having sex at 14, getting fingered at 12, 13, like sending naked pictures to guys very young.
So this was who you were.
The daddy issues here. But that's okay. I had a lifestyle of sex, drugs, and rock and roll from like a young age. Yeah. Not really, but kind of.
I also want to normalize that like people in their early 20s don't know what's going like. Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like you're kind of figuring it out again. And so are a lot of other people in their 20s. And
I still don't know who I am. Like I am, that's the one thing that I can tell you is I am extremely self-aware. That is like, I think that is one of my, oh God, sorry, I almost burped. That's what happens when I drink these drinks.
You're very in touch with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am very self-aware. Like I know everything that I do wrong. I know everything that I do right. And I know the problems that I have. Like, I swear to God, I'm really
Do you
good
work
at
on
it.
the problems?
I try. But I'm also aware that I don't try hard enough.
Okay.
But like, I'm very aware of myself.
Okay.
I do think I have imposter syndrome also, by the way.
That's normal.
Okay.
Imposter syndrome with
I think with everything that I like, kind of with where I am. I don't think I give myself enough credit with things either. I think I'm really hard on myself for many different reasons, but I never really think much. And I'm like going all over the place now.
Well, I have another question now.
I'm just venting at this point. But I've noticed so many things about myself. I think this is kind of like a side note, but I think when I started feeling really depressed about OnlyFans, I have...
and depressed, like, didn't want to get out of bed. Like, how
actually, no. So, you know what? I won't... and depression looks different in everybody, right? Just
right.
Okay. Yeah. I just don't want to use a term.
I'm just curious, like, what were some of the symptoms you were having?
So, like, I always felt like I needed to be on the phone with... Like, even to this day, I feel like I always like to be on the phone with somebody.
Like, alone? You didn't want to be alone with your thoughts?
Yeah, and it's weird because I love living alone and I love my alone time. But, like, as soon as I'm alone with my thoughts is when... stuff starts happening. I noticed that I like nitpick at my relationship more. And then I just was really realizing.
Irritable. Were you a little irritable?
Yeah.
Huh.
It just was so many things.
Can I tell you what I think this was?
Yeah.
So if you have depression symptoms, which is there's a long list of what you can have. If you have it for more than 6 months, then you can most likely get diagnosed with it.
Okay.
It's also true that if it's less than 6 months, it's usually called adjustment disorder with a depressive mood.
Okay.
So
it sounds like that kind of.
Yeah. It sounds like you were able to, you had the resources and the energy to find your way out.
Well, I think the issue is that the first time that I really felt upset and talked to Brandon about it, which I didn't even talk, I was like bawling in the car outside. And I was explaining to him how it was making me feel to do OnlyFans and how just lost I felt within myself and within
That's
life.
really hard.
And it's weird too because I'm confident enough to post my naked body online, but I felt so not confident within my own mind. Like,
that's
sorry,
heavy.
Burping. Yeah.
That's heavy.
I just never felt really confident in my brain. Which, from an outside
you don't come off
perspective,
as that.
I was going to say from an outside perspective, you wouldn't know. But yeah, I remember saying that to him and I was going somewhere with that and I forgot my train of thought.
What happened after this?
Oh, I remember. I was going to say that I remember being super upset and he was telling, okay, the issue is with OnlyFans is that's my main source of income.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't that bad that I was like, I just need to stop cold turkey. I was bad, but I was like, I can't stop. That's how it felt. It felt like I want to stop, but I can't stop. So
was it like almost like a high when you saw the money?
Oh yeah, it still is. And like and once the numbers drop, it's like anything to get it back up. But now it's like that high is being replaced with this show. Like today we hit like 1 million views in a day on TikTok because of my producer Julie over there.
Julie.
Yeah. And that was such a high because it's
congratulations. Like let's take a moment. You're making something out of this right now.
No, for sure. I mean, that's the thing too is like we might start crying. No, but the first TikTok that went viral was the first episode we did that was an external person. So it was like a confirmation for us. I feel like that was like this is going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And it just has to hook, but we know it's there.
Let's like take a moment and just this is happening for you and it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, for sure. I will.
I do have more questions and I also want to take note that the questions are going to get deep. I may want to take it to another time.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever you want.
I'll ask you one more. I said one more like 5 minutes ago.
No, it's fine. I like them.
Okay. Did you ever feel uncomfortable with people would say to you? Because they can message you, right? Like, did you ever feel uncomfortable or was there always like a boundary up?
Never uncomfortable.
Okay.
But annoyed sometimes and because I don't feel like answering these guys.
Yeah.
But no, never really uncomfortable. If anything, I kind of would laugh it off because I find it entertaining what some of these guys
say. I just say that maybe you were in the right field for a little bit of time because I think that you have to really know what you want and have the boundaries up. That's
the thing too is as much as I dislike it, I feel like I am good at it because if I wasn't, then I wouldn't have been successful on it. Yeah. So
you're ready to grow.
I am. I'm ready to be more than just that, and I want something. I think the most important thing for me is finding something that makes me feel alive and like something I'm passionate about and can pour my brain into.
It sounds like you keep wanting.
Yeah,
like,
I do want a lot.
So like, so tell me if this is something that you want to work on. I try and replace the word struggle with want to work on. Do you want to work on savoring the moment you're in now compared to like reaching for more and more and more?
I don't do that.
Okay. So how do you celebrate these small wins? Do you celebrate small wins?
I eat baked Lays.
Oh, I love baked Lays. What flavor? Flavor?
Original. No flavor.
Ripple?
No, just
you have to try the Ripple baked Lays. They have them at our food store down the street. Okay. Well, I'm glad you celebrate with baked Lays. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Can you eat the whole bag for me?
Absolutely. Okay. I only leave like a little less than a quarter.
Because I think that like it's really great to celebrate these moments because we keep reaching for more and more and more. And we're like, oh, I want this in life. I want this in life. But really, we don't know what we're getting tomorrow. And like, we really just need to live today and celebrate today. So I'm glad we got to cheer a little bit for,
I will
for both
say,
of you.
There's only been a few times in my life that I can think of off the top of my head that I feel like I really was in the moment and felt like I escaped reality.
What was that?
I don't know if I should say, actually.
Okay. Well, we can talk.
Okay. But I think it's important because because I just want to, I guess what I'm trying to say is like this world that I live in with social media is really difficult at times, and it is a job, and it is fun, and it is amazing that we're able to do what we do and have this freedom and this schedule.
And is there an and coming?
No, but there's a but coming.
Can we replace it with and?
And
so but is more is what you're about to say more negative? So like I like to use the word and.
So but is negative, but and isn't.
And is two can be true. You can really enjoy your job, and also there can be something negative about it. And
I'll
both
use
can be
and.
true.
Okay.
Yes.
You're teaching me something. Oh, yes. No, this is good because this will help me in the future shows. So it's great that we have the freedom, and it's great that we, have all of this amazing stuff. And
beautiful.
The only downside, can I say that?
Yeah, because it can be a downside, and they're both true.
Okay. And the only downside is I don't think any of us really know how to separate it. Because what we do is our life. When I come on here, I'm not putting on an act. I'm not anyone else except myself. So, and then when I get off of this, Julie and I talk all day about the show, and it's great, and I love it. And it's like feeding me. You know what I mean? It's great. Yeah. But I don't have enough moments that I can escape it. And I feel like I used to have those, and now I just don't. So I just feel like it's go, 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 go. And don't get me wrong. It's great that, every day I go to the gym, but that's no longer an escape. That's more part of my routine.
It's a priority.
Now.
It's a routine.
Exactly.
You feel weird if you don't go.
Right. And I've tried to do the things that make me feel that freedom and escape again, more mentally, which is like used to be taking a walk and stuff. But I tried it recently, and it just didn't do it for me anymore, which was kind of upsetting because I was like, I really thought
something new. You have to try something new.
Yeah. So that wasn't it. So I'll have to figure it out. But what I was just saying is I don't think I do enough of those living in the moment times. And honestly, social media is great. And see that and throws me the fuck off.
So you don't have, this is just.
That throws me the fuck off.
It's really weird.
Can I tell you,
my negative it is a part of a therapy called dialectical behavioral therapy.
No, it's good because it kind of kills with the negative thing you're about to say. Yeah. So I'm just not even going to say anymore. Because I can't even remember.
Now I want to know.
I don't know what I was going to. I think my
basically
main thing
you're
was
having trouble finding these moments throughout your day where you can be in yourself.
Yes. Okay. Because I am myself online, but I feel like it's not always me. And I feel like a lot of people don't really know me. Maybe more so recently. I don't know. I feel like recently I've been more myself.
I think it's really, first off, that sounds tough. Separating like what you said.
It's hard. And my whole relationship, my best friend. I mean, all of these things are involved in the social media realm. So I don't really get.
So just acknowledging that you want somewhere like escape or like
and
moments.
Vacation doesn't do it either, by the way.
Okay. I think that's okay. And I think that really vacation could be like a whole different topic of like expectations, what really happens.
Yeah.
Just like noticing what you want. You don't have to do anything about it yet, but just like sit with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes sitting with yourself can be like sitting just with an emotion can be really hard.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's like
it's easy to
harder than
block
something
it out. Yeah.
Okay, can I shift into something else?
Yes.
So both of us have had experiences with a partner, right, who was or had some type of mental illness, whether that was bipolar disorder, substance-induced psychosis. They were sick.
Yes.
And we were really young. And we haven't really talked much about this yet.
No.
Okay.
So you want me to go first? Or do you want to take it away? Or do you have a plan for it?
I think I have a little bit of a plan.
Okay.
We're going to talk about some of the symptoms we saw.
Okay.
And what we were thinking in the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so like let's bring this is going to be tough because we're kind of bringing ourselves back.
Yeah.
This is a part of what I call like a part of my past trauma.
Okay. Definitely me too.
Okay.
Which is
I appreciate that I'm doing this with someone.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay. So let's just think for a minute. Like, can you remember a day where something was kind of like off?
Yes, I remember it very detailed.
Okay. Me too.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Do you want to share details?
Sure. I think I already kind of have on a past episode, but not in like a deep way. Maybe it was a deep way.
Because then we can talk about
mine. I can make
mine short.
Same.
And this means that I'm skidding on the surface, right? It's
Same.
like I'm not going to.
Absolutely.
So there's this term in therapy. Actually, one of the other therapists taught me this, that like when you're talking about something really deep, there's a boat that you're floating on and you only want to go down to the deep end really quickly and then come back up to the boat because you don't want to drown down here.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go like this a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with mine and then I'm going to want you to tie yours in. So, I was away with my family. I was, I think, 17 or 18 at the time. And my ex-boyfriend was texting me that he could hear the devil and that he thought the devil was going to hurt him. And at the time, I'm like, I love this person. Are they okay? Like, are you okay? Are you safe? You know, I really just wanted to make sure that they were okay. And I didn't think much of it at the time. I was like, this is weird. Maybe he's been drinking or smoking, because I do know that they smoked, which we'll get into that. That's another type of thing. So then like time goes on and it gets to the point where we were at the mall one day. And
you guys are exes at this point, right?
No, we were still
together?
I stuck it out.
Okay, that's kitty baby.
Maybe we need some animal love right now.
She can sense the energy.
She's good. Unless she does her head brush on her camera, she's good. Come here. Keep going.
Where's Blue? Okay.
Blue's
I want one. No, I'm just
we
kidding.
need emotional support.
To be honest, I'm a dog person. Yay for the dog people over here.
I used to be, so I get it. But now I'm a cat lady.
So I just came back up the boat for a minute. Did you notice that?
Yep, there you go.
So things kept happening. We were at the mall. They randomly bought like a $1,300 laptop. We're in college. We're not making any money. And then it got to the point where we were supposed to go out to dinner one night. And his mom called me and was like, hey, have you seen him? Mm-hmm. And no one knew where he was. And around like 8:30 p.m., we get a knock on my family's door. And they know.
Yeah, they do.
And
okay, kitty, no buttholes. Come on now.
We get a knock on the door. They were at the door and they were telling my dad that they wanted to kill themselves. And they weren't making sense. It's called like word salad.
So it was the boyfriend and his friend?
It was just him.
Him?
He ran a lot. He was a runner.
Okay.
And he ran from his house to my parents' house, which is about 15 miles in the snow.
Okay.
On like a Saturday night. So, I didn't know what was going on. My mom was a social worker. My mom was like, call 911 now. He wants to hurt himself. He sprinted off. My dad and I got in the car, chased him down the street. He wouldn't get in the car. We lost him. We called his mom. And everyone has different views on mental health and mental illness.
Right.
His mom's like, oh, he just needs sleep. He just needs sleep. He was admitted to the psychiatric hospital the next day.
Yeah. And how long was he there for?
I don't know, maybe 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks. Okay. I'm saying 2 weeks because that's a typical length of stay from my perspective as someone who worked in that hospital. And then I did see him one last time when he got out. It was Valentine's Day. They were still not doing very well. And they brought me a coconut to my dorm room. And they were like, let's crack it open and drink it. And I'm like, this is like a little weird. And then he was like, can you walk me to my car? And then he told me that he flushed his meds. That was it. And there were a lot of other things that happened. Like he told me that they had another name he started having a delusion that he was someone else. Okay. So that is my story. And that
was that kind of like the breaking point for the relationship for you? Was that like a pretty easy break?
It was more so of like, there were things that happened to me that he did to me that I had to heal from. Okay. And it got to the point where, you know what? That's a really good question.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did he ever cheat on you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Did yours?
Yes. With a stripper.
Okay, it's your turn.
Okay. Okay, well, no.
Can I just take a deep breath?
Yes. Take your breaths.
I love my breath.
No, I had to ask you that because when
Thank you for letting me share that too.
Of course. Mm-hmm. No, I wanted to ask you because it sounded like it might be the same kind of thing. So when the guy that I was dating, I think we were together for, gosh, I don't remember exact times now, but it was a decent amount of time.
Okay.
I think we were together for almost a year.
Were you in high school?
No. So I was like almost done college. I was in my...
Oh, this is like kind of recent.
Is that my last?
Can I ask you something really quick?
Yes.
How do you feel? Actually, finish your story.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay. So yeah, I was, I think, in my last semester of college. This wasn't that long ago, a couple years ago. But even from then, I'm a different lady now. But
yeah.
So around this time, I liked to jump in relationships. So like out of one into another, out of one into another. So I never really, did a background check. Not really, but you know what I mean? I didn't really analyze people before going into it. But this guy,
I'm sure you changed your ways.
Yeah. This guy was, he seemed cool, and we went out a couple times, and when we would go out, he would say that he's sober, doesn't drink.
Okay.
Which I respected, because even though I was drinking and having fun, I was like, wow, it's really cool that somebody can go out and drink and have a good time, and have a good time with me that was drinking, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
Because when you're younger, I feel like that's what everybody does. They go out and they get drunk. No one really stays sober when
Isn't
you're
that
young.
weird that that's like abnormal for someone not to drink?
Right, it is.
Yeah.
And, at the time, I thought it was so cool that he was able to have a good time and be sober. And I never asked why he was sober.
Okay.
But that night, or maybe a couple of nights going into it. But the first night that I really went out with him, and Claudia was there with us, we got back to our house, and her and I were wasted. And it was me, her, and him just sitting in our kitchen eating McDonald's. And he randomly just told us that he was bipolar. This was like before I even dated him. So he told us. And we didn't think much of it. It kind of got weird and quiet for a second, but we didn't know how to react because we didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
We knew what it kind of meant, like mood changes, whatever, but we didn't know anything else.
I think that's the best way to react.
Yeah. Didn't really know anything else. Kind of went over my head.
Okay.
So we dated for, let's say, 6 months.
Okay.
Everything was great. Normal.
Yeah.
Normal.
Yeah.
And then there was just this shift. I think that things were kind of rocky and weird between us. Maybe we broke up.
Okay. Is that when the cheating happened?
Not yet.
Okay.
We took a break, and during this break, it was only like a couple days. I think he decided that he was going to go away to Vegas with one of his friends. And I've been cheated on plenty of times in the past to know that that's probably not the best idea, but whatever. Yeah. So long story short, when he was at Vegas, I guess he was going out all the time and not getting sleep. Didn't know this what mattered or was a thing, to someone who's bipolar. He wasn't getting sleep.
A manic episode.
Yes. And I think he also was smoking and stuff, and maybe even drinking, doing things that he wasn't supposed to be doing. Because I think the smoking and drinking can kind of trigger it in a way.
Definitely. We'll get into that. Yeah.
So, which I didn't know any of this stuff. Once again, I wasn't even thinking about
why would you
bipolar.
know these things unless you're in it? Right?
Yeah. So he gets back. Everything's different. I kind of just thought everything was different because he did something wrong. That's all I would think.
Yeah.
And he denied it for a while, which was fine. And then we just stopped. He just stopped really answering me, stopped wanting to hang out, which was weird because we had a solid 6 months that were fine.
Yeah.
And it was like a completely different person out of nowhere. He kind of broke up with me, and it was like dating someone for 6 months, and then they're just like, okay, see ya.
Yeah.
And he was just gone. And I felt weird. Like inside, I knew something was wrong. And that's happened to me before, where one other guy has just completely gone at my eye. But that was like after a couple weeks. So that's expected. So I knew in my gut something was wrong. So I stalked his mom on White Pages and found his mom's number.
Making sure he was okay.
Yeah, that was my main thing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, this was weird to me. I just want to make sure he's fine.
You had a feeling.
I did. And that's what I did. And basically she called me right away. And she explained to me that it's been a year or so that he hasn't had a manic episode, but she thinks that he's kind of going back to that again. Yeah. She thinks he's been smoking. Yep. And to make a long story kind of short, even though he ended up admitting that he cheated on me, which I just that wasn't even on my mind because I no longer wanted to be with him because I liked him as my boyfriend. I wanted to be with him because I felt this need to fix him and get him better. I wanted to stay through it until he was better, if that makes sense. And I've never experienced anything like that. So
it's like someone hurting themselves in any way.
And his
Why
mom,
would you? Yeah.
Yeah, and his mom would tell me to, like, he would say he would stop smoking, and then his mom would say to me, like, can you please let me know if you know that he's still smoking? And I ended up not telling her once, and then I was like, you know what? He's not getting better. And it was really weird. Like, he would call, I think he would say I was Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. And then,
Okay, so you were experiencing some...
Yeah, he said he was God, and then he had told me once that, well, maybe I shouldn't say what I was going to say. There was bad things that he was saying. And, like, there was times where, like, he would still sleep over my house, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and he was just, like, awake staring at the wall.
Yeah.
And there were times where I was, like, genuinely scared, not for myself, but for my mom, because she was upstairs. And I'm like, what if he were to do something to my mom? You know what I mean? So there was a lot of scary things. I obviously eventually, like, ended up ending it a while after, but he was in a psych ward for a while. I would go and visit him. That was kind of scary, too, because I had never done something like... Literally, that whole experience... I had never done. And I remember when he was gone and when he wasn't talking to me and all of this was happening. And I've gone through a lot of heartbreak. Like, felt like the end of the world heartbreak. But this was so different. Like, I remember laying in my bed and, like, feeling it. Like, in my heart. Like, I was just like, this is horrible.
Did you ever, at the end, this is what I experienced. I was always like, I hope he's okay. I hope that they're okay.
Once I was done...
Were you done?
I was done.
Okay.
Like, I didn't want to look back because I think that I almost started to torture myself with it.
Wow,
like, I was just, I basically put it all on me. Like, I didn't do anything. I think I deleted my social media. I just, because I realized that life is really not about social media. Like, there are so many more serious things in the world. And when I was experiencing this, I literally felt like nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
I was like, this world's a joke because experiencing this and seeing what somebody's going through.
Sounds like there was some anger there.
Yeah. It just like it made me realize how stupid the world was because nobody actually knows what mental health is. Well, people do, but not a lot.
You know
what I mean?
Like, kinda.
I'm just saying in the sense of like I was saying in the beginning.
Completely. I agree completely.
If you don't experience it, there's no way. Even me telling it to somebody, like I could tell my story with this guy in detail and somebody still wouldn't get it because they didn't live through it.
100%. Also, I do want to notice I was with this person for like 2 years. Okay. So like, I don't know if that changes anything. I just felt like I had to say it.
I think it's all. I think that anything over like 6 months is like
and can we just acknowledge like both of us we experienced some things, we saw some things, and eventually we grew from it, we learned from it.
He also drank his own pee.
Yeah, that sounds like things I've seen in the hospital.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I'm really glad that we both shared that. And I hope that like someone can relate or learn or something from it because this happens more than you think.
Yeah, or somebody's kind of experiencing it with whether it be like a friend or a parent or partner.
Yeah. So talking about like, okay, you mentioned one of the things that your ex said was, I feel like I'm God or like godly. So that is I want to make sure I say the right thing. Okay. That is a delusion. So there are several different types of delusions. There's a delusion of grandeur, which is what they were experiencing. Okay. That's like when you're like, I'm Kanye West today.
Yeah, and he would bring that up a lot too. Like Kanye West. Yeah. That was a big person that he'd talk about.
Isn't that interesting? Well, like with what's going on. Anyways, we don't have to get into that. There's also delusions of, I'm going to say it wrong. Erotomania. Do you want to guess what that is?
Like erotic behavior?
Kind of, yeah. Like obsessing over someone, thinking they're married to them.
Okay.
Like a true stalker. Like someone who is a true stalker. And like, do you hear about the celebrities' homes being broken into by like their stalkers? That's because they truly probably think they are married to them, in love with them.
That's the one thing I will say, going back to your Onlyfans question, that's the one thing I kind of get worried about is because my job in a way is to make these people feel like we are not dating, but like that they're my friend in a way. Yeah. And I think that's the one thing I think about is like, I don't want to give someone the wrong idea and have them actually think that like we're friends. And
that
like,
can be a worry.
So that's the only thing that
and then thinking about what some of these psychiatric illnesses can do to people you just don't know.
And I did have an experience with that too. We don't have to talk about it now. Okay.
maybe another episode or another day.
It was weird, but
do you want to talk about it?
It's quick. I could just say
go
it really
ahead.
fast,
Why don't we just do it?
Claudia and I were at our gym, and this guy comes up to me. This is weird. I don't even know if I told you this, Julie. And he just doesn't really say anything. Yeah. And he looks at me, and he was wearing, I think, this like yellow, kind of like one of those remember, were they Under Armour bracelets?
Live Strong?
Yes. It was something like that. I don't know if it was that one, but it was a bracelet like that.
Okay.
And he might have had some tattoos. And he comes, Claudia was doing her set, and I was kneeling on the ground, I think maybe texting or taking my glove off. And I like see somebody out of the corner of my eye, and he kind of puts his hand forward and is just like showing me his hand. And I look up and I'm like, hi, thinking it was like a fan or something from like the YouTube videos. And he was like, you don't know who I am?
Okay. And
I was like, no, am I supposed to? Like, have we met before? He's like, you don't recognize like my arm and bracelet? And I was like, no. And mind you, he was not speaking loudly. He was like mumbling really quiet. And
I have like a ball in my throat right now.
Yeah, he basically kind of was like from OnlyFans. And basically was trying to imply that I was supposed to recognize him from his bracelet and arm.
How did you feel in that moment?
That was fucking freaky. Like, Claudia,
did you feel uncomfortable?
Like, ew. Yeah, that made me uncomfortable. Because now you're at like my place that I go to work out.
What was it like going back there after that happened?
I think I forgot about it.
Okay, so you were able to, like, it wasn't
I bounced back pretty quick.
Okay, I can tell.
I think.
Yeah, I definitely can see that in you.
Yeah, I bounced back fast. Like,
and
something
it's
can
because
hit me hard,
you've been through some things, and you've had to come right back on. Also, being on screen a lot might be doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so different types. I'm going to like say one or two more things about this. So there's also somatic delusions, which is when you see or you feel bugs crawling on your arms, or you think your back is broken, but it's not broken. And you like go to the hospital daily. Like, I have bugs in my arms. Like, there have been cases where people have ripped their skin off trying to get bugs out.
Is this a part of being bipolar, or is this something completely different?
This is what delusions are. You can experience delusions in mania, which is you can experience. There's so much to talk about. Let's just acknowledge that. So let's focus on bipolar disorder right now. I'm not going to go into schizophrenia right now or a different psychotic disorder.
But you can have multiple mental disorders in a way, right?
You know, I think that you can be comorbid. Like, you can have bipolar disorder with a substance use disorder. You cannot have bipolar disorder and schizophrenia.
Really?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will experience. Okay.
I just wanted to ask that because when I did a lot of research during this time, and like I thought maybe this person had both, but I wasn't sure because I also am not.
That's another hard thing. It's like, why do we have to label it, right?
Yeah.
But we have to label it for the insurance companies.
Okay.
And also to treat. So like, we want to treat. When I worked in a psychiatric hospital, a regular hospital for this. As a forensic social worker, we want to treat those symptoms. And once we start treating those symptoms, then we can start thinking, okay, what do we think this is? Like, they're getting better from these medications. These medications treat this illness.
Got it.
So that's one, different psychiatrists. I am not a psychiatrist. But different psychiatrists think of different things.
Okay.
I am a social worker.
Got it.
So the last one is persecutory. I'm saying that wrong. But basically, when you think there's cameras hidden in the walls, or that trick of touching the mirror on the wall to make sure there's a space between your finger and the mirror, or you think the FBI is following you. That's like one of the most common ones we've seen, or they have a chip in their brain.
Okay.
And that's what that can be. So when you have bipolar disorder, there's bipolar 1 and there's bipolar 2. Bipolar 1 is like this. It's like a wave. So you have really low lows, and then you have super highs, like mania, like what you were seeing.
Okay.
And then there's bipolar 2, which is a little more mild. Just think of like I wouldn't say a calm wave, and you may not get those super high highs. You may not experience mania.
Okay.
Mania is the top of those highs where you don't sleep for days, you don't eat for days, and that's when the delusions and hallucinations can come out.
Yeah.
They can also come out really down here, down low.
Okay.
Like when you're super depressed. So yeah, there's also hallucinations. Hallucinations is like hearing, seeing things, smelling things that aren't there. People can feel things that aren't there. I've worked with a patient patients in the past who tell me that they smell grass all the time, or like metals, heavy metals, and they think that there's something in the building that's wrong, that they smell these things. So just, you wouldn't always think about that, like, oh, maybe they just smell something, but that can be a hallucination.
Okay.
Let me think if I'm missing anything, because this is like something that people don't talk about. People don't know the difference between hallucination and delusion.
Yeah, I definitely don't.
So delusions are more so like the stories. Okay. Like, I am God.
Okay.
I think you are cheating on me. You're cheating on me. I know it. The FBI is following me. Like, those are the delusions. Hallucinations are more of like seeing things that aren't there, like seeing people that are not there, like talking to people in the room that are not there, smelling things that aren't there, feeling things that may not be there, seeing things that may not be there. So it's hard to explain, and that would be a whole other conversation. Thank you for listening.
Of course. No, it's very informative. It's great.
Yeah.
I love this.
Oh, yeah, of course. And I have my little notes here to make sure.
No, I love it.
I have everything. So I can give a story.
Okay.
So I teach yoga. I am a yoga instructor. I'm with you. I work out every day. Sometimes I wish I didn't. Mm-hmm. And I was at the yoga studio one day, and someone was teaching a class, and there was someone in the class who I had my eye on. I am very high alert in the community. And they were talking pretty pressured speech. It was hard to understand them when they were out in the lobby. They went to go take the class. About 10 minutes in, I was outside of the studio at the lobby, like in the desk. They run out and they just say, I need water. I need water. Okay, like, that's normal. It's a hard class.
Right.
They go back in. They run back out. They start hyperventilating. They're telling us that we poisoned them with the water, and they start losing their pants. They were so sweaty, their pants were falling off of them. And then he started like gagging, and it got to the point where like, we need to do something about this. And someone else that was in the studio with me said, he needs to get some rest. And I was like, he does not need rest. Right. We need to call 911 immediately before something happens. Like, I don't know if he's a danger to himself or someone else. So he runs out of the studio. I called 911 right before he did that. While he was running out, he's like said, I have schizophrenia. Like, he was really quiet about it. He must have been off of his medications. Mm-hmm. He was experiencing a delusion that we were poisoning him with the water. That is also very common. And the police officer came, and they found him at the urgent care because he thought he was poisoned. He wanted to get that fixed. So, and what that is called an emergency petition. When someone calls 911 and a police officer comes, it can be very intimidating. I want to just preface that. Right. Because they will get handcuffed. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there will be a social worker with them, and they will cuff them and take them to the nearest hospital.
Okay. And then they usually, is that when they do like the 2-week stay, or they're kind of
So that's a whole different. So that's a good question. Okay. And I'm noticing that this is my language, and I want to teach everyone that wants to know. Yeah. So once you get into the emergency room, only some hospitals in the state of Maryland have psychiatric emergency departments. Okay. Some do not. So these people are just mixed with a crowd of people. And it's not always the safest thing, because sometimes these people are in danger to others or themselves, especially if they're psychotic.
I just want to say too, correct me if I'm wrong, but if they're being taken to a regular hospital, these doctors or nurses might be trying to treat them for a physical issue, which there might not be there. So they release them when they actually need mental help.
That's a great question.
Physical help, you know?
That's a good question. And I guess, social workers work in these hospitals. Even if it's just like a normal hospital, there are normal hospitals that have psychiatric providers. Like they'll have a psychiatrist that can be on call. Oh, I think someone like is experiencing mania or depression. Someone is experiencing like thoughts of suicide or something like that. The psychiatrist or the attending or whatever they are called will come and evaluate. Okay. Or it could be a social worker, and they can say this person needs to be admitted they have no choice. They have to go. That's called an involuntary admission, when they are forced against their will to go into the hospital. Okay. And that can be frightening for that person. Right. And the social workers, the providers, the nurses, we all want to help them. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they're here. They really need treatment. Let's get to it. Mm-hmm. The thing is that not everyone goes in involuntary. Some people say, okay, I'll get treatment. I'll go upstairs, or you can transfer me to the psychiatric hospital. They go, they get there, and they want to leave. They sign something that's called a 72-hour notice. I'm curious if people know what that is. Leave it in the comments. I don't know, you know? So a 72-hour notice is the person's right when you're voluntary, that you can leave the hospital in 72 hours unless 2 psychiatric providers, psychiatrists, say you're a danger to yourself.
The guy I was with did that.
Oh, wow.
And I think he did it because he knew he didn't want to stay longer than that. Because
he signed.
Yeah, because if he wouldn't have and he went in involuntary, then there was no guarantee of the 72 hours. Mm-hmm. So I remember that.
So you know about this.
Yeah.
You know about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do remember that.
So I have sat in the room. A judge comes. We have a hearing in the hospital, and there can be security guards standing with us. There are times where I have been grabbed or chased after. You just have to really watch your back in these settings. And sometimes these people who are really sick will be discharged. Right. And that is sometimes what we see, like on the street, right? Or they're living with the family members, and the family members don't know what to do, and it's frightening for them. And their family member that's very sick may think they are not sick at all.
Right.
So I didn't go super deep into it, and I'll save that for another time. And that's just a glimpse of what it's like at the beginning of a hospitalization.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that was great, because I feel like even though it was skimmed, it still felt like a lot of good information, honestly.
Okay.
And it's funny because even the fact that I obviously experienced something like that firsthand, it was still good information to hear from you, and new information too, that also I didn't know. Which is interesting.
Yeah, it's not. We don't talk about this. Like, who talks about this, right?
Right. And I mean, even after what I went through, like I experienced it in that time, but afterwards, I don't really speak about it unless I decide to. You know, it's just like it's not something that gets brought up unless I think you're in the moment dealing with it.
It's something that if it happens to you once, you may never talk about it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about the hospitalization piece.
Okay.
And then it kind of, can move into like, what do we think? How can we treat people who have a mental illness, right? Like a mental illness should be looked at. I think, Julia, we talked about this a little bit on the phone. Mental illness should be looked at the same way as someone breaking their leg or has diabetes or has cancer, because it's something that needs treatment. And hey, like if you broke your arm, everyone would want to care for you. You want to have you would probably have people here making your meals, you know? And if you have a psychotic disorder, I don't think that happens,
No, right. If anything, I think people are more scared and they want to keep their distance.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have to, everyone's like, break the stigma. And it's like, education is the way, right? So what do you think about everything I'm saying? Like, any thoughts on do you feel like you can bring this into the community and like kind of have a different set of eyes?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think too. And also that's like one of the main reasons I wanted you on the show. Well, it was great that you reached out, because prior to reaching out, I was actually looking for someone to come on just to spread awareness and talk about it, because I think that more people than not want it to be talked about, but maybe they don't feel comfortable asking, or they don't know what to ask. And I think that episodes like this are really eye-opening for people, and either that's because people can relate, or whether it's within themselves or with people around them that they may know. And I think too, it's just regardless, even if you don't know anybody, it's important because we live in a world full of other people. And if there's things that you maybe see down the road or just might confuse you, certain behaviors of people, if you have more education and knowledge, then maybe in your own head, you don't have to be, a therapist or a social worker to know these things. If you are educated, you can kind of pick up on it and be like, this person might need help. And in certain situations, for example, like at the yoga studio that you were talking about, somebody might, if somebody has more education, they might be less scared in a situation like that and more aware of what's actually happening. and not just say, oh, the person needs rest, or, oh my God, call 911 because they're scaring me. But they might think, okay, this person,
needs
something
help.
might really, something might be really wrong. Yeah.
I'm so glad you took that from that conversation, because like that is what I want to get across.
Yeah, for
is
sure.
that we can help in little ways and just less judgment.
Yeah.
Because we can't control our brains all the time. I mean, we try our best, like coping skills, right? You said you were trying to go on those walks. It wasn't working. We have to try something else. So like, I don't know, the doodle books people like. And as a social worker, personally, it's very important that I do my like self-care. Also like the word self-care, well, that's another conversation. Just like getting a facial, getting a massage. But like really, what is self-care? Sleeping through the night.
Right.
Eating healthy. As healthy as you can.
Right. And getting some form of exercise
form of exercise. As I started therapy and working in this field, I noticed that I have to, like sweat and kind of get my mind off of things. Cause like you were saying, it's kind of like a place to check in. So yeah, I just think it's important that providers also take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
And also I make mistakes too. I have some mental health stuff too. I have anxiety.
You're human. Yeah.
Exactly. So like we're all human here. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think what you said is important, because even if somebody doesn't necessarily have, that's Honey, by the way. There's a third cat that walked by.
They all look the same except for the blue. Honey, kitty, blue.
Yes.
I took my allergy medicine today.
Oh, good.
I knew I saw you had a cat.
Okay, so I'm glad that you did that.
I'm
We need to
good.
start telling people that in advance.
Oh, I'm good.
Awesome. No, so I'm glad that you said that, because whether someone is working in the field specifically like you are, or even just on their day-to-day life where they might not think that they need to talk to anybody, or they feel, oh, I don't have anxiety, or I don't have anything going on, but it's still important to take care of yourself mentally through things like getting a walk. And when we say, I like to say too, when I say exercise, like I'm not talking like you don't have to like lift weights like I do or do anything crazy. It's more so just, even if it is just taking a walk or something like that, I just think that any type of
stretching,
like anything is good. And that I think that's good for your mental health. I think sleep, like you said, even fueling your body with healthy foods. And
it's so important.
Even if something you don't feel like you need mental help in any way, I feel like you can still mentally help yourself in other ways.
We always want to grow, right?
Absolutely.
It could never hurt.
Yeah, that's like where I am in life right now, is really wanting to grow.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious if you have any if you have any other questions for me too.
Yeah.
Ask away too. I want you to know I'm open about everything.
I do have some questions, and I also think that,
and wherever you want to take it to, by all means.
So I think support, just like your support system, is incredibly powerful. And I noticed, like, thank you to my husband, and thank you to my dog and my parents and my brother and my sister and my friends who have supported me to get to this place. Yeah. So for you, you said that like maybe not everyone was super pumped about you doing OnlyFans.
Yep.
So like, what was that like for you? Was it like your loved ones?
Yeah.
Because that can be impactful.
Family members, not so much my grandma. I feel like I could kill somebody and she would still have my back. But
I love that. I thought you were going to say the opposite.
No, my grandma's my like biggest fan. And I think obviously my mom, it was more of like a disappointment, because I feel like as a mother, like usually a mom wants better for her daughter, not to, so that, and then my aunt and uncle, they're more religious, so I'm sure they have their own opinions, and it took my mom and I a little bit to get to a place of, what's the term? What the
agreement.
Agree to disagree.
Okay, so your mom still disagrees.
Absolutely. But I will say, like, we're to a point where I'm very open about it. If she asks, I tell her. And my main thing is I live on my own. I support myself.
You can do what you want.
Exactly. And even if you don't agree, and I don't even need her to support it. I just don't, let's just not talk about it. Like, it's there. I know it's there. If you have questions, I'm willing to answer. And I think that was hard for me at first.
That's a healthy boundary, though. I think that
it needed to be. Yes. I think it needed to be built, because my mom and I, obviously, because like I said, my dad passed away when I was young. So she was the mom and dad figure, and her and I were very close, but also we would get in some fucking arguments, like no other. But I think that our closeness at certain times passed a line, which is kind of what I was talking about with the control thing. I do feel like there was some of that in there, and I think that that's probably why I so harshly wanted to break that as fast as I did.
Wow.
But But
do you see your mom and yourself?
Yes. And I like to put it this way. Like there are, she has amazing qualities, that I can list off. But there's also things that I've learned from her that I would like to change or be better at.
Do differently. Just do differently. Yes. Doesn't mean good or bad. Yeah.
I want to be my own person in every way. And I think that it's healthy too. And it's cool. And it's great to get certain things from your parents. But yeah, I recognize them sometimes and I'm like, I could work on that.
Okay. Like coming back to the self-awareness.
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like there's anything that you want to share about the work you do? Like just to educate people, right? Like we want to teach people, I don't know.
Like with OnlyFans?
Yeah. Like with the work you've been doing for a couple years now. What do you want people to know?
Well, I think I want people to know that even though you can make a lot of money on it, doesn't mean that you're going to be happy. And it doesn't mean that it's not hard. Like, you have to have kind of like what you were saying. You have to have some sort of shield to respond to these people.
A shield. I really like that term.
Yeah, you have to have like a shield to respond to these people and to not really let it get to you. And there's been plenty of times that it kind of lingers in my brain. But now, for example, that I have this podcast to focus on, I have more of that separation of, okay, go on OnlyFans, make the money. And then as soon as I close out of that app or website, I am focused on this again. And I think that's really what I needed. I didn't have that before. Like before, it was solely like it was OnlyFans. And then when I closed out of it, there was nothing to replace that. So now it's like I have something else to distract me.
This is like a big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's cool. And I think, too, the other thing is it's really true when people say money can't buy happiness. Like, it can buy a lot of things, and it can it can make you temporarily happy. But the way that I felt at many points more recently than not has just been, like, brutal, mentally.
I appreciate you being super open about this and sharing about this because what do we like people like on the street? We think, oh, they're making money on OnlyFans. Psh, they're like better off. Right. Must be nice. And there's like this darker side to it. I would almost use the term darker. Like it's a heavier place. What do you do when you're talking to someone on OnlyFans and you like have a dinner date in 10 minutes? Like, how do you get to the next thing? Can you just zoom into the next activity without, did that take time to get to or,
No.
I need to take a minute with my work.
Yeah.
Well, I need to like take my deep breath.
Yeah. I think that I'm kind of like what we were saying about like bouncing back quickly. I just think that over the years I've learned how to, it's weird because there are certain things that really do affect me and kind of linger in my brain. But I think for the most part, I'm really good at just keeping the ball rolling.
Can I say the word disassociating a little bit?
Yeah.
Like when you're doing the work.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like too when I say I would like be on the phone, like try to always be on the phone. It's like kind of trying to replace.
Yes, it's like this background noise that you want to, so you don't think about your thoughts. Yeah, I feel like everyone can experience that in some capacity. There is one more thing I do want to talk about. I didn't even talk to you about this. Okay. This is just another type of treatment that people can get when they have probably a really, really deep depression, some psychosis. It's called ECT. Do you know what ECT is? Electronic convulsive therapy. Do you have any idea what that is?
No. That sounds like electroshock.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You're right. So, yeah.
I'm smart today,
Julie. Very good, Deb.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is something that has a very heavy stigma to it. When we used to have patients come into the hospital that we would recommend this to, they would be like, you're not shocking me. Are you kidding me? And there have been really terrible practices in the psychiatric field hundreds of years ago. A lobotomy. Like there have been several things that do not happen today that I know about.
Right.
And ECT is one that has stayed.
Okay.
So this is when you get electrodes stuck to your head. They put you under anesthesia for maybe 5 minutes. And then they take a sock off because they want to make sure that you are getting the treatment because your body will not convulse. Only your toe will move.
Interesting.
Because they give you a type of relaxer. So like this is someone that's like a psychiatrist who specializes in ECT can talk about. So
you're under anesthesia while they're doing okay.
So this is called, so think of it as a doctor's office. Oh, go to the dentist. You go to the dentist, you sit in the waiting room. All right, come on back, Dev. Okay, let's get you all set up. They have an office where they do it.
Right.
And you go to your appointment. It takes about, I would say like 2 hours because like you have to wake up from the anesthesia and they want to check your vitals. Because some things can happen afterwards. Like people can.
I mean, with anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Any procedure. So, and then they leave.
Okay.
And
what is that? That's used, you said, for depression?
It can be used for a lot of different diagnoses, mostly to treat symptoms. So if someone, like I have worked with someone who was in such a deep depression that they were catatonic. Catatonic meaning they couldn't control their body motions. Okay. They couldn't speak correctly. Their words were almost like a slur and they didn't want to eat. They wouldn't take their medications. It was very tough. Okay. And you know, the family's like, what do we do? What do we do? Are they gone forever? And we offer ECT because usually it treats the worst of the worst. Okay. And I don't even think there's an answer for why. Okay. And after, you know, you have to get like, I would say around 8 to 12 sessions of this before
you see results.
Maybe 5. It really depends. So some people go for their life. They go every 2 weeks. They get their ECT. They start to feel their mood drip. Oh, I need to go in and get my ECT. Other people will get 10 sessions, feel a little better. I could like draw this out on what it's like a wave. Like you will feel really good at first after your first few sessions, and then you'll dip a little bit. And then sometimes you feel too good and you hit the mania. Okay. So you know, you have to be under direct supervision. That's why you have to be inpatient to do this. And
so it's not like you do it and you go home.
So
or some.
I have never seen that. I've seen people get it inpatient, get discharged from the hospital, and continue to come in. So like, you know, usually when people start getting ECT, they are very ill. So that's just another type of treatment that it's like, who know what is ECT, you know?
I didn't even know.
And this is something that can be extremely helpful, and other people have different thoughts about it. Right. There's also like the whole thing about psilocybin and like all these different drugs that people are starting to use now to help treat psychosis and quitting cigarettes, quitting nicotine. So, I mean, this conversation, let's just acknowledge it's endless, right? Yeah. So
mental health on its own, and you know, I think there's just so many different things, and
like being a narcissist. Right. What is a narcissist? So,
which is why I wanted to have you back too, because I felt like we could do even like a more, and that's another thing too, is that's the cool thing. The one cool thing about the comments is that people can kind of comment below like what specific things that they'd want to hear about, and I feel like that would be really interesting too. Like a really
questions too, because I really think that your perspective and my perspective are different and informational and informative because they come from different walks of life, just like anyone answering a question would.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So did you want to talk about the words like insane?
I did.
Okay.
Wait, do you remember us doing that?
What do you mean?
Didn't we do that at the beginning of the podcast?
Well, I thought, was there more of it?
I mean, I can go in depth.
I wasn't sure if there were, because I wasn't sure if you had more for it or not. But if you don't,
I do.
Then it's fine. But because I know, remember before
I feel like we're good. I feel like I
wanted to make sure.
As long as I appreciate you going back to that though.
Of course. No,
you're a good listener.
We talked about it and I want to take care. Hold on.
Bless you.
No, it was a cough.
Oh,
I got a cat hair in my throat.
No.
Okay, I'm good.
Sneezing, coughing.
It's a little bit of everything. No, I wanted to make sure that we went back because I know before we started, I wasn't sure how in depth you wanted to go, but
I think that like, you know, I can get more in depth. You know, there's this whole movement that happened. I guess it was maybe like 80 to 100 years ago where a lot of state hospitals were shut down. And that is a reason why our homeless population in, I guess, like all of America is so high.
Hold on, I'm about to have a coughing attack.
Okay, we're gonna.
Did I bring my water down, Julie?
Did you? I don't see it.
Maybe I didn't.
Do you get cat hairs in your throat regularly?
No.
Oh, you do.
I think, but I do. Well, the funny thing is I saw it in the cup, and I still decided to drink
no, Dev!
it. And I've been thinking that's what happened. Sorry, kitty. Thanks, Julie.
Oh, wow. Now that's a water bottle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have a Stanley cup.
Woo!
You doing okay?
I'm good. I just got a little bit of cat fur in my throat. Hold on. The worst is when this has happened.
Happen before?
No, it would be loud if it did. No, this has happened though, like in person when I'm talking to somebody and I don't have water, and then I'm like, you know what? We can't continue this conversation because I can't get together.
My gosh.
This happened to me once in a class during COVID. So
that makes me so anxious, Joy.
It's the worst thing. You don't even know what's in your throat. It's like this like tickle.
Dev, you must be feeling right now super like helpless because you can't help with coughing. And you're like, I want to talk, but I'm helpless.
Yeah. Well, I got my water now. I think I'm okay.
Your voice sounds different.
What'd you say?
Your voice sounds different.
I know. It's
Something's wrong.
I think it's that one cat hair lingering.
No, I'm not kidding.
I know. I think I saw it too.
And I drank it because I just love my cat so
and
much.
Cat hair.
Yeah.
You know what? What I was saying is that there is a wide range of different people on the street that have a mental illness. And I think that we can look at people who have mental illness, just like people like us, and be respectful of the terms that were once used to identify them.
And I want to say too that if there's men listening or even women, that when using the terms like crazy and stuff, I just think that sometimes it can really hurt someone's feelings also, because I think that it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I feel like it's really hard when you're heated in the moment or angry. But I definitely think that those words, there's a lot of words that can be used the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I think that I just kind of want to give a little background of
I
why
hear.
I wrote, or not wrote, but
oh yes, tell us why. Why is it?
Because while yes, absolutely, I agree that there's words that, even like I said, even something, a more simple word like crazy, because I think that's used more often than psychotic.
100%.
And I think even words like that, like I was just saying, that in a relationship or in an argument, if somebody throws that word out, it can be hurtful, and it can mean a variety of things. With the "we're all insane," I think that it came from, I think Brandon had an idea of like, oh, we're all crazy or something like that. And I didn't like it. It wasn't catchy. And honestly, I dislike the word crazy more than I dislike the word insane.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Okay.
But I kind of just look at it, not even with the word exactly, but I kind of like to look at it as everyone has their thing. Even whether it's a small thing or a big thing, we all have some shit, you know? Yeah. And I feel like that's where I kind of got the title from. And that's where I was like, since I'm having so many different types of people on, it's kind of to show. Yeah, it's just kind of to show that we all got our thing, because a lot of it is going to be people telling their stories or people, you know, saying what they do for a living. And we all have these different things. And I feel like it's cool because I feel like I have so many different sides of me. Like I have the sexual OnlyFans divorce side, and then I have the side that I think I do have a big side of me that is just sad, and then that I kind of bury down, and then I have a side that's excited and happy and outgoing,
bubbly.
And
You're so bubbly.
I have so many different sides of me, and I think for the most part, like I choose which ones come out, but and I don't really see the other ones unless something is really going on. But I feel like I'm the perfect definition of kind of a little bit of everything. So, and that's why I feel like I'm so comfortable having all different people on. And I have in my life been a very mean and judgmental person just growing up. And I think that as humans, that happens. You know, we make mistakes and we can be evil. I think humans can be very evil. Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like I'm so not judgmental to people. Like I want people to come on and share their story. I think it's interesting and I think it's cool. And even having you talk more educational stuff, I think it's so intriguing. Honestly, like I like it. So like that's like one of my favorite things.
Oh my gosh.
So because I just feel like I like to really learn. Yeah. And I'm not good at learning through reading. I'm good at like watching movies.
I am right with you.
To people,
Were you bad at math?
Oh, horrible.
Me too.
I actually never made it to algebra, believe it or not.
Oh no.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah, I failed a couple times.
So I appreciate, like, I just want to say thank you for letting me come on here and talk about my view on just like the name of your podcast. And also I do respect it because you have your reasoning behind it. And also like, I'm just trying to educate. Like you said, I don't want to judge everyone about like their decisions on naming something. That doesn't define who you are.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And it doesn't define anyone either. The thing is like, I feel like kind of like what I just said, but it kind of just shows like, I think the best way to word it is what I said of like, we all have something, you know, and that's why we all have something to talk about. We all have something that we could work on or, you know, that we're good at. It's like so many different things.
Yeah.
And I feel like this show gives everybody the chance to say the good things about themselves, say some, you know, like scary things, some traumatic things, just everything. So
can we end on a breath?
Yes.
Will you take a breath with
Is
me?
this our last ending breath?
Julie's
going to take the breath with us. Ready?
Okay, ready?
1, 2.
Wait, let me. Ready? In through your nose. Open mouth exhale.
Is that good?